The problems on this slide may look difficult because they look fairly complicated. We have parentheses and so on. But actually, if they work really nicely with the square root method that we've already been practicing. First of all, on this problem right here, this is a question that I think a lot of people would be tempted to multiply it out. To do FOIL on this, do x plus 3 times x plus 3, multiply it out, and go from there. But actually, that's a very unnecessary step, and it's going to make the problem a lot more complicated. The best thing to do in this situation, I want to get this x by itself. The things that are stopping it are this plus 3, which is trapped inside the parentheses, and this squared on the outside of the parentheses. Well, I can take out that squared right now by doing the square root of both sides, just like before. The square root and the squared are going to cancel out, so all I have left here is x plus 3. So the squared cancels out very nicely. And on this side, I have plus or minus square roots of 15. So I want to get the x by itself, and the only thing stopping me now is this plus 3. Well, the way I get rid of a plus 3 is by subtracting 3 from both sides. And when you do the number right here, when you add or subtract the number, you're going to want to put it in front of the plus or minus sign. If you put it in back, like put a minus 3 over here, it's confusing if that's part of the positive and negative or if it's separate. You should always put the number in front. And I don't have room to write that as an actual note, but I'm going to put my minus 3 in front of the plus or minus. So write yourself some sort of thing. I'll jot myself a little note right there. And what I get when I do that, the minus 3 on both sides, I get x equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 15. This is how I would leave my answer, written like that. This means my two answers are negative 3 plus the square root of 15 and negative 3 minus the square root of 15. But I'm going to leave it just like that, done. On my second problem, it's the same sort of deal. I want to solve for x, but there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I want to get rid of this squared, and it would be nice if I could do a nice square root like the last problem, but this plus 3 is causing me trouble. If I take a square root right now, it's going to get caught underneath it. So I'm going to get rid of the 3 first, just like I would normally do. I get x minus 6 squared equals 8, and now it looks just like number 1. I'm going to take a square root of both sides, cancel that out. I get x minus 6, because those cancel, equals plus or minus. And for the square root of 8, if you do yourself a quick factor tree, it does break down. It'll be 2 root 2. Square root of 15 didn't break down. And I'm going to add 6 to both sides to get x by itself. When you add or subtract a number, just stick it in front of the plus or minus. So I get x equals positive 6 plus or minus 2 root 2. And that's my final answer. All right, 2 more examples. Same sort of deal on this one. I want to get rid of that 4. I get 2 and then y minus 1 squared equals 200. I want to take a square root, but before I do that, I have to get rid of this 2 sitting there. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. I get y minus 1 squared equals 100. And now I'm ready to take the square root of both sides. So get the squared by itself, take the square root of both sides. I get y minus 1 equals, and this one, the square root of 100, is a whole number. So I just get plus or minus 10. So I'm going to add my 1 to both sides here, because I want to get y by itself. And when I do that, I get y equals 1 plus or minus 10. Now on my other problems, my answers were going to be kind of weird looking decimals because of the square roots there. These are nice answers because it's just plain 10 there. There's no more square roots. So what you should do is actually figure out what your answers are. Do 1 plus 10. That's 11. So one of my answers is 11. And 1 minus 10 is going to be a negative 9. So if it's just like this where there are nice answers, just do the 2 problems. Do plus, do minus, get your answers, and you're done. And our final problem in the video here, same idea as always. You subtract the 1. You're going to get a 50 there. Then you're going to multiply by 4 to cancel out that divided by 4 on both sides. So you have 50 times 4. You're going to end up with parenthesis equals 50 times 4 is 200. You're going to take the square root of both sides, get t plus 5 equals plus or minus. After you do a little factor tree, I don't have room for it here. You'll get 10 root 2. And then you just have to subtract that 5 from both sides. You get t equals negative 5 plus or minus 10 root 2. And that is how you leave your answer. So, same process as before, just with one extra step where you toss that other number on the other side, and we're good to go.